So today we are going to, we're working towards graphing equations of lines. Okay, so that's what we're working on, graphing lines here. And we'll start graphing lines on Monday. Unfortunately, I will not be here on Monday, so that might be some good news to some people. It might be some bad news to some people. But I do want to let you know that you will have a formative assessment in the MRC on Tuesday, regardless of me being here Monday or not. We'll still have a formative on Tuesday in the MRC. And the sub will hopefully remind you also of that, because I already put it in my sub notes for that. Okay? Quiz then, we'll have a quiz on the 2nd of October. Yeah, we're already talking October. Okay? And then we'll have a test on the 10th of October right away too. Okay? So today, topic 2.2, we're going to talk about slopes and rates of change. Okay? So what I would like you to do is I would like you to find somebody next to you, and I would like you to do two things. First, I would like you to tell me what you think slope is, or tell that other person what you think slope is. And second, how you would go about finding the slope of a line. Not talking about graphing lines onto a graph like you did last night on the homework. Okay? Talking about just the actual slope of that line. Okay? Go for it. Description. Can somebody give me the description that they gave for what slope is? What you got?
Just the increase or decrease of a line.
Okay. What else?
The rate of change.
Rate of change, that's a good one. What else? Now, what'd you guys come up with back there in that corner? That's a method? Okay, so that would be more of a method down here. Okay, well, let me bring this down a little bit, and then let's go method here. So you're saying rise over run. Okay. Sam, what'd you guys come up with up front? Okay, and then why is that method or a description? I would think it'd be more of a method, wouldn't it? Yeah. To find it? Okay. So which part would I be looking at in y equals mx plus b? You'd just be looking at the m though, right? Yeah. Y equals b, and then m is the slope. Okay. William, what did you guys come up with back there? That's it? Marlon, what did you come up with?
I had everything else up there.
What was that?
I just had those something.
Everything that's up there? Okay. Anybody have anything else that's not up here? We got.
For method, can you do the x2 minus x1 and then y2 minus y1?
You could, but you would be wrong if you did it in that way. You want to tweak that a little bit? No? What?
Flip it around.
Yeah, y's over x's.
Oh.
Yep. Yep. Oops. Wrong color. as a method. Doesn't matter what order you go in as long as you stay consistent with your order too. But it's got to be y's over x's. Okay? Anything else? Only other one that I would have had for a description here would have been the steepness of the line as a description. Because the slope tells you how steep that line is if you're looking at a picture. Okay? Any other methods? All right. So there are 4 different types of slopes. Okay? So there's positive slopes, there's negative slopes, there's zero slopes, and there's undefined slopes. Okay? So let's talk about those 4 kinds right now. So a positive slope would look like that. It would have a positive number like 5 or a positive fraction like 7/3. And the description that we would give there is it would go up and to the right or down and to the left. Negative slopes would be like -5 or -7/3. And the description here would be down and to the right, or up and to the left. Or you could say it rises, or excuse me, negative slopes would fall to the right, or a positive slope would rise to the right, or vice versa. A zero slope you're going to see the number 0, or you're going to have 0 in fraction form, where it's 0 on top and some number on the bottom. But both of those are 0. So if we think about rise over run, okay, a 0 slope would have 0 rise in fraction form. What? It'd be, well, all lines are straight, yeah. Okay. Horizontal, yep, that's the word we're looking for. Okay, so it'd have 0 rise and it'd have all the run in the world, so that would be a horizontal line. An undefined slope, you're either going to see undef, undefined, or you're going to have some number be divided by 0. So if you think about it in terms of the fraction form, okay, we're rising whatever we want to rise, but we're not running at all. So that's going to be a vertical line. Two parts to these directions. Okay? The first part is find the slope of the line passing through the points. That's part number one. We need to find the slope. Part number two says, then tell if it rises or falls to the right. So a positive slope would rise to the right. A negative slope would fall to the right. Is horizontal or is vertical. Okay? So there's two parts to this problem. One, we got to find the slope. Two, we've got to describe it. So the slope here between 2 points is going to be, we're going to subtract the y's over subtracting the x's. 5 minus -2 divided by -3 minus 5. Got to stay in that same order. If I use the y part of the left one first, I've got to use the x part of the left one first. If I use the y part of the second one first, I've got to use the y or the x part of the second one first, then on the bottom. Either way I do it, we should get the exact same answer. Here on the top one, we get +7 over -8. Here on the bottom one, I get -7 over +8. In either case here, the slope is -7/8, and that means it would fall to the right as a description. What I would like you to do now is I would like you to do the other three. Here my slope is going to be 8 minus 8 over 7 minus -8. That's going to be 0 over 15. Add equal sign. That's going to be 0. So the slope here is going to be 0, which makes this one a horizontal line. Third one, my slope here is going to be -1 minus 5 over 3 minus 3. That's -6 over 0, which is undefined, so my slope here would be undef. And that makes it a vertical line. Here my slope is going to be 2 minus -4 all over 3/4 minus 1/4. That's going to be 6 divided by 2/4. 2/4 it can be reduced to 1/2. 6 divided by 1/2 is 12. So my slope there is 12. That's a positive number. That's going to go up and to the right, so that is going to rise to the right. Questions on those three? question that you will be asked repeatedly throughout the course of this class is, are the lines parallel, are they perpendicular, or are they neither? Okay? Two lines can be parallel, two lines can be perpendicular, and if they're not parallel or they're not perpendicular, then they're neither. Okay? So there are three choices for two lines. Okay? So let's talk about the first one. Parallel lines. Okay? Parallel lines. What can you tell me about parallel lines? They never intersect. Okay? What else can you tell me about parallel lines? Okay? They go on forever. All lines go on forever. Doesn't have to be parallel to do that. Okay? But that they do. Parallel lines go on forever. Tell me anything else about parallel lines. They have the same slope. Yep. Give me a real-world example of parallel lines. Best one. Train tracks. Yep. Okay. Most common one. Train tracks is the most, because they never intersect. So the slopes we said are equal. Okay? Have to be exactly the same in order to be parallel. What do we know about perpendicular lines? Okay, how do they intersect? At a 90-degree angle. That's the kicker. Perpendicular lines intersect at a 90-degree angle. They don't just intersect, because any two lines can just intersect. Okay? What do we know about the slopes of perpendicular lines? Even more. William, don't make me start throwing markers at you. Wake up. Let's go. So are they both? We have put both of those together. Are they just reciprocals? Are they just opposites? Are they opposite reciprocals? Or are they something else? Come on now. You know this stuff. What do we think? Perpendicular lines. Just look at it. What are we thinking? One's positive and one's negative. So that's the opposite part, right? Okay, so for sure they're opposite. Are they reciprocals too? Yay or nay? Yay? Yeah. It's got to be both. Okay? Got to be both. They are both opposite and reciprocal. The opposite part here tells me that one is positive and one is negative. The reciprocal part here tells me that if I flip one of them, I get the other. Okay? And both conditions have to be met. So, if the slope of my first line is A over B, the perpendicular slope, and that's the symbol there for perpendicular, an upside down capital T, just negative B over A, yep. Because if it's negative B over negative A, then it becomes just B over A, and we simplify. So it's got one of them's got to be negative. Yeah? So, line number 1 goes through those 2 points. Line number 2 goes through those 2 points. I want to know if line number 1 is parallel, perpendicular, or neither to line number 2. Well, in order to do that, I have to find the slopes, because that's what tells me if they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither, is the slopes. So what is the slope of line number 1? 5 over 1? Do we agree with 5 over 1? Logan's agreeing with you even while he's falling asleep. Now that you're awake, Logan, because I called you out, do you still agree with her?
Yeah.
Okay. You sure about that?
Now that you're saying that I shouldn't, no, I'm not.
That you're not?
No.
Okay. So how do we go about calculating it? Anybody? How do we go about calculating the slope here? -1 minus -2, or -1 plus 2, yep, over 5 minus 6. So what is -1 minus -2? 1. What's 5 minus 6? -1. What's 1 divided by -1? -1. Okay? Alright? Line number 2. What's the slope of line number 2? Don't like it. He said -5 over -6. 5 over 6, because negative divided by negative is positive, right? Okay. Alright, so I put the slopes in red. I distinguished them. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the two red numbers. Are they the same? No, they're not the same. Okay? So therefore, they are not parallel. Are they opposite reciprocals?
No.
Yes or no?
No.
They're opposites, right? Because one's positive and one's negative.
Yeah.
But they're not reciprocals because the reciprocal of 5, 6 is 6 over 5. Right? So they're not opposite reciprocals. So since they're not parallel and they're not perpendicular, that means they're neither. They just intersect. That's all that means. Okay? What I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to try that one, the next one. Okay, so let's check and see if Grace is right with perpendicular. Okay? So, I got a slope here on the first one of 3 minus 4 all over -9 minus 0. That gives me -1 over -9, which is 1/9. I get a slope on the second one of -4 minus 5 all over 3 minus 2. That gives me a slope of -9 over +1, which is -9. Okay? So clearly they're not the same, right? The two red numbers are not the same, so not parallel. Okay? Are they opposites? Yes. Are they reciprocals? Yes. So that makes them opposite reciprocals. So therefore, Yahoo for school, those two are perpendicular. Okay. One last style of problem, and that is this. Okay? The book likes to give these problems, and the tech likes to give these problems, where they give you a value or a point and part of another point. Then they give you a value of the slope. And they say, find the value of k, in this case, find the value of k so that the slope between those 2 points is truly -2. So you're going to start here with your slope formula. And then you're going to fill in everything that you know. I know that the slope is -2. I know that one y value is -3 and the other y value is 4. I know that one x value is 3 and the other value is k. So you've got -2 here equals -7 over 3 minus k. How would you go about solving that? Multiply both sides by 3 minus k. Okay? So if I multiply here by 3 minus k, I've also got to multiply here by 3 minus k. So then that gives me -2 times the quantity 3 minus k equals -7. Now what would you do? Distribute. -6 plus 2k equals -7. Add 6 to both sides. So when k is -1/2, the slope between those 2 points is -2. If k is any other value, the slope is not -2. Okay? What I'd like you to do now is I would like you to do this second one. Find me the value of k that makes that true. So that would be what our setup is. Multiply both sides by 3 minus k again. So that's going to give me 4 times the quantity 3 minus k equals 2k minus 4. Distribute. You gonna make it over there? No kidding. I'm gonna add 4. At the same time, I'm gonna add 4k. That's gonna give me 16 equals 6k. Then I'm gonna divide both sides by 6. 16 divided by 6, both can be divided by 2, 8/3 is k. So if k is 8/3, the slope between those 2 points is 4. Okay? Homework this evening is at the bottom of your pink page. Okay? No graphs tonight, so I don't need to hand out graphs tonight. But I again remind you that on Tuesday of next week, you will be having a formative assessment. Hip, hip, hooray.